Yakuza 0 feels very much like a beginning for the series. Obviously that's true in a literal sense, considering the game is a prequel, but Yakuza 0 also seems poised to capture an audience that's been elusive outside of Japan. All of the expected and rightfully loved elements are present, including extreme violence, cheeky humor, effective storytelling, and an abundance of side activities. Yet each individual piece has been refined to its sharpest point yet. The story wastes little time, quickly establishing important characters in dramatic ways, making it easier than ever to get invested. For those new to the series, Yakuza 0 offers a compelling case for why the series is special. Meanwhile, those who have walked the streets of Kamurocho before can look forward to what is easily one of the best Yakuza games to reach Western audiences. One of the biggest joys of Yakuza 0 is how it recontextualizes its two central heroes. Instead of the grizzled yet empathetic Kazuma we're used to, here he's a little brash, a little insecure, and a little naive. Kazuma Kiryu is very eager to prove himself to his superiors, and that eagerness embroils him in a crime-laden mystery where he must decide where his true loyalties lie. As well done as the story of young Kazuma is, his co-star Goro Majima absolutely steals the show. Majima has been a bit of a curious character in the Yakuza games. His off-kilter, edge-of-sanity persona is entertaining, but it feels like the series doesn't always know how to best make use of him. In Yakuza 0, Majima is far more grounded and frankly, far more relatable than he's ever been. Without spoiling the best parts, the game does a thoroughly excellent job of giving Majima things to care about, as well as putting him in a situation where you very much want him to succeed. At the same time, there's a slow evolution of the character from beginning to end. Although Majima starts as a vulnerable street punk, he eventually grows into the eccentric personality seen in the rest of the series. Witnessing how he got there, as well as the very important people who helped shape that development, gives us a far greater appreciation of the character. Prequels can sometimes feel forced, as if they're struggling to justify their existence. Yakuza 0 does not have that problem. It tells a gripping story all its own, while simultaneously making the rest of the series feel more fleshed out. The one major issue with the story is that it can, at times, be needlessly drawn out. It's an issue that affects other Yakuza games, and it's disappointing to see it here as well. Instead of simply moving on to the next story point, there are sections where the game will require you to run all over the city doing menial tasks. Thankfully, it only happens a few times, making it less egregious than some past entries. But it can still be frustrating when these moments occur. The beat-em-up combat of Yakuza 0, the bread and butter of any Yakuza game, has more flair to it than ever thanks to the addition of 3 unique styles for both Kazuma and Majima. Kazuma has a standard brawler style, a nimble rush style, and a lumbering beast style. Majima also gets a fairly traditional thug style, as well as a bat-wielding slugger style, and a silly yet effective breakdancing style. All of these styles are upgraded by spending money, the same money that you use for everything. Early on, deciding between upgrading a character or spending the money on something else leads to interesting decisions, but eventually you're swimming in so much cash that it becomes trivial. Being able to switch styles for a character adds much needed variety to a combat system that's admittedly gotten a little stale over the years. Most importantly, styles just look and play great. Whether it's brutally slamming someone in the face with a bat as Majima, or picking someone up and throwing them headfirst into the ground as Kazuma, each style is immensely satisfying because of how comically powerful they can all feel. Although styles add a new dimension to combat, the types of fights thrown at you haven't really changed from past Yakuza games, which hurts the difficulty a bit. Because styles add so much versatility to each character, it's relatively easy to find the style that works well and breeze through fights with very little effort. The complaint is especially relevant with Majima, whose breaker style makes group fights a joke, and whose slugger style pummels bosses with relative ease. A stiff challenge has never been the primary draw of a Yakuza game, but it's hard not to shake the feeling that fights could have been better tuned to more adequately accommodate the addition of styles. However, despite the relative lack of difficulty, the backstreet brawls remain enjoyable, thanks in large part to the number of options, as well as the flashy, over-the-top presentation. As vital as the combat and characters are in any Yakuza game, the true star is always the world itself, and that's no different here. There's a lot to do in the grimy streets of Kamurocho and Osaka, and nearly all of it is worth seeing. Even mini-games such as bowling, karaoke, arcade games, pool, and dancing are surprisingly well made, not to mention the new real estate and cabaret simulation games, which are rather involved, but can result in huge financial gains for those willing to invest the effort. It's easy to plan on dabbling in side activities for just a few minutes, only to lose more than an hour without realizing it. Yakuza 0 also smartly incentivizes you to go out and see as much as possible thanks to a friendship system that feels somewhat akin to social links from Persona. At one convenience store, for instance, there's an anxious clerk that has trouble talking to customers. The more you shop from her, the more her confidence builds, resulting in a simple yet charming story where she eventually has to pitch ideas to make her store stand out from all the others in Kamurocho. What could have just been a place to buy health recovery and side quest items is instead a hub for conversation and personality, thanks to the friendship system. The actual side missions offer some of the most amusing situations in the entire game as people throughout the city try to rope you into solving their problems. In one side mission, a group of tame nobodies asks you to help them become a suave rock band. Although each mission is usually made up of dialogue and a fight or two, they're worthwhile because of how humorous they often are. Since its debut in 2006, Yakuza has been relegated to a niche audience in the West, which is more heartbreaking than ever after finishing Yakuza 0. It's a game that offers an abundance of varied activities and memorable stories. Even with a lack of difficulty and a few minor pacing hiccups, Yakuza 0 demonstrably proves that this long-running series has so much bite left in it. Easy Allies reviews are made possible by generous viewers just like you. If you like what you see, check out patreon.com/easyallies to see our other videos and consider becoming a patron to help us make more.